Hey everybody, today I got a really special treat for you guys. I'm going to give you a complete tour of our reptile room here at Markham Reptiles. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to our partner Reptile. They are a wonderful producer of coconut chip and they make any size chip that you could possibly need. Go check them out. Their link is below in the description. So we're going to start right here with this 4x2. In here we have my scrub python Dundee. He's a Maruke locality scrub python. At least that's what they're called in the American hobby. Let's go ahead and get him out for you. All right, so here's Dundee, you guys. And as you can see, he's a beautiful animal. Like I said, he is a Maruke scrub python. And he's an F2, which means he's a second generation captive animal. He's a bit dark right now. He's actually going through a shed cycle. And I'd say he's probably about 6 feet long right now or something of that nature. As you can see, they're not super heavy-bodied snakes. So this is Somalia amethystina. He's a beautiful animal. Like I said, his name is Dundee. I've always liked the Australian scrub pythons, which we cannot have here in the United States, and that's what inspired his name. He's named after Crocodile Dundee, and he's absolutely a beast. He's an inquisitive animal. He's smart, he's a great feeder, and he's a really cool animal to deal with. Super cool pattern on him. I love the enlarged scales on their head. I'll see if I can show you those real quick. Take a look at that. They have heat pits like a lot of pythons, and they're just super cool. They like to climb. They have more slender tails, and they're just beautiful animals. Check this guy out. We're going to go ahead and get Dundee back in his cage here, and I'm going to show you who is beneath Dundee. So when I'm putting my animals back in their cages, I don't rush them in. I don't touch their tails to get them in to go faster. I want to build the maximum amount of trust that I can. If they come back out, I'll gently put them back in, but most of the time they'll just go away by themselves, and I wait until their tail is completely inside of their cage. I don't rush them because that destroys their trust in me. And I need that trust to work with them. So under Dundee right here, we have this modified 40-gallon. And in here is my Theraphosa styrmi, which means a Burgundy Goliath bird eater. And that is Kavaki. So, normally this would be a fish tank with a screen top. I don't really like screen tops anyways for humidity reasons. But Goliath bird eaters are actually known to chew through screen tops because they have the biggest fangs of any tarantula. So I wanted to make sure that I had a secure enclosure. So I actually bought, this modification right here, this front piece from a company called I Heart Geckos. I'll go ahead and link them in the description. This piece is really awesome. All I did was silicone it to the front, and it makes this a front opening enclosure with no screen top. So it's actually really cool. It keeps the humidity, and you can see in it very well. This is also bioactive. I'll give you guys a quick shot of Kavaki. I definitely won't be holding him. He's super irritable. But, yeah, I actually move him with a paintbrush, which I keep right up here. It's a lot softer than my hand, and it also prevents me from getting a bite. So I'm actually going to move him around with this just so you guys can see him, and then we'll let him go about his day. So here he is, you guys, in full defense posture, and that's him. A Burgundy Goliath bird eater. He is an absolute beast. If you stick anything in front of him right now, he will definitely bite it. He's a big guy. They are the biggest tarantula in the world. The females do get bigger than the males. He is a male, but he's a super cool animal. He's actually my first tarantula, and he's actually not that hard to keep. He's a pretty cool animal. You just got to keep the humidity pretty high, around 80% for these guys. They need a bit higher than room temperature, so I have heat mats on the side and a thermostat. But other than that, they're pretty easy to keep. So that's my boy Kavaki. Kavaki, I believe in mythology, is like the king of the Goliaths. So my friend Daniel actually gave me that name, which is a super cool name. So thanks, Daniel. I'm actually going to go ahead and move him so that I can put the hide back and it won't be on top of him and hurt him. So there we go with that. And boom, back in the mix. So, if you don't bother him, he won't bother you. But if you bother him, he might bother you. That's my boy. So up here on top of a now very defensive Dundee, we have this right here. And this is actually a tote that I'm going to make bioactive and put a corn snake in, Tinkerbell. And like I said, Dundee's here. And then down here you have Kavaki. So moving to our left here on the top, we have some different enclosures. And on this 4-foot enclosure on the top, we have my boy Smiley, the carpet python. Beneath him is Athena, the boa imperator. Over here we have Jax, a leopard gecko. And down here we have Eva in the big 8-foot enclosure, the lavender albino reticulated python. I'm going to go ahead and show you all of them right now. So this is my girl Eva right here. She's a mainland reticulated python. She is a lavender albino, and I got her from Markham Reptiles. She's a really sweet girl, and she turns 2 next month. So wish her an early happy birthday. She's probably around 8 feet long, which is the same size as her enclosure right now. But as you see, she was curled up in her humid hide. So I give a lot of my snakes humid hides, and they basically just contain damp sphagnum moss that is damp enough to where it's wet when you touch it, but if you squeeze it, water doesn't come dripping out. So I didn't give Eva a bioactive enclosure because I've tried it before, and she just doesn't do too well with bioactive. As you can see, she has really light colored scales, and here and there in bioactive, she'll start to develop some scale problems from the moisture. But these guys do need humidity to shed, so I give her 2 big water bowls, and she has a humid hide as well. As you guys may know, reticulated pythons are the longest species of snakes in the world. The females get bigger than the males, and she's a female, so keep checking in on her in the future to see some cool growth updates. So above Eva in a 6x2x2, we have my girl right here, Athena. I'm not going to hold her for too long because she actually just ate a large chicken last night, which is a pretty big meal for her. As you guys can see, there's like a bump right here in her body that's pretty pronounced. So I'm going to go ahead and let her chill. But she is a boa imperator. I got her from BHB Reptiles. She's a beast. She just hit about 6 feet long. And as you guys know, boas give live birth. So above Athena, we have my boy Smiley. And Smiley is a coastal carpet python. And he's super inquisitive. He always wants to come out. He's also a bit of an escape artist. But I'm going to go ahead and see if he'll take himself out right now because he looks like he wants to come out. And this guy always wants to explore. Got to be careful with a snake like this. I have this enclosure where you have to latch, a bunch of different latches. And if I leave one undone, he will definitely escape. So, always got to make sure he's secured at all times. But he doesn't mean any harm. He just wants to get out and move around. So let's take a look at this guy. As I said, Smiley's a coastal carpet python. I got him from Living Legless, and he is het axanthic. I don't know if I plan on breeding him yet. He's pretty much just a pet. But he is going to be 4 years old in the summer. So he's like 3.5 years old. If I had to guess, I'd say he's like 5 feet. And he's a really cool snake. He has a beautiful smiley face on top of his head. I'm going to see if I can show you guys here. Yeah, he's like, no. But it's backwards right there. If I can get him facing you, then it'll be forwards. You know what? Smiley is being a bit derpy. So I'm going to go ahead and put up a picture of the smiley face on his head. And hopefully, some point while he's moving around here, you guys will be able to see it. Carpet pythons are semi-arboreal, but they are adept climbers. And this guy loves to climb. He has no problem climbing. And as you can see, he can hold on to my hand with just the bottom of his tail and do a bit of a pull-up or go any direction that he wants to. Right now he's deciding if he wants to pull up on my hand or go towards the camera. So since I'm moving him towards the camera, he's actually going up there. And look how much of his body he can stretch out. And if he wants, he can go back up towards my hand, which is what he's going to do now. But he is an absolutely beautiful animal. I think carpet pythons make great pets. They're super cool, even if they're a bit nippy when they're young, which is not always the case. This guy wasn't very nippy when he was young. But even if they are, they tame out really fast. You just got to keep working with them. and they are absolutely beautiful animals. I mean, just look at this guy. To me, they have one of the prettiest patterns naturally of any non-venomous snake. So shout outs to Smiley. So over here next to Smiley, I have another one of these cages with this modified front from I Heart Geckos. And I'm going to be putting my green tree python in here, Chuckles. He's a Biot green tree python, and he just ate last night, so I'm not going to pick him up for this video because he's a bit younger and I want to make sure that he keeps his food down. But I'll put some pictures or videos of him right about here, and he's going to be moving into this cage. If you guys want to see him eating, I'm going to be putting out a video where I feed every single one of my animals in one video. So subscribe and wait for that. Turn on your post notifications because that one is en route. So right here I have a nice big 40-gallon tub from Walmart, and I've actually turned this into a bioactive setup for my leopard gecko Jax. And here he is in the back there. And that's my boy. So I'll go ahead and get him out and show him to you guys a bit closer. So this is our leopard gecko Jax. And we actually got this guy from PetSmart, which I'm not too proud to say because I don't really like pet stores that much. But we got him originally for my son. It proved to be a bit too much for my son to take care of just because leopard geckos eat so often. They go to the bathroom so often. So I actually think that snakes are a bit easier to take care of. Now that being said, leopard geckos are awesome. He's an awesome animal. He's absolutely beautiful. He's a big guy, and their tails are beautiful. Look at that tail. And they're just super cool. They're really docile, and they're great pets. So shout outs to Jax right here. So next to Jax here, I have my great wall of stickers. And these are just a bunch of different people that I've done business with. Shout out to all of these guys. You guys are wonderful. And if you see anyone on here, go ahead and check them out. And next to that, I actually, just free roaming here, I have the most venomous lizard on the planet. I'm just kidding. This is actually just a plastic toy. But this is also in my reptile room. So moving over here, we have some Super 70s. And that is our adult breeder rack. So here's a look at them from the side. They're nice and long and deep. And these house are adult ball pythons and some of our northern white-lipped pythons as well. So this is one of my favorite animals, and this is actually a northern white-lipped python female named Belle. She is an adult female. She's around 4 years old, just guessing. She was wild caught as a baby, but she was raised by my boy Jimmy at Gecko and Gecko. I will actually link him in the description. Jimmy is a great guy. And she ate a really small meal last night, which is a weaned rat. So there's literally barely even a lump in her. And she'll get a slightly bigger meal next week. These guys go on a bit of a feeding cycle. So in order to breed these guys, you have to take them off of food for a few months at a time, specific to what season you're in. And then you go ahead and cluster feed them. So you give them, food a bit more often, smaller meals, to let them know that it's breeding season. And that's what she's in right now. So I'm hoping for this girl to produce this year and give us some beautiful northern white-lipped babies. She's somewhere in the 6 to 7 foot range, probably 6.5 feet. They're not crazy big. They do have these really cool spurs, and they're really obvious even on the females, as you can see right here by her cloaca. And they're really cool. And for a wild-caught animal, she is just chill. She's a beauty. She's super nice, super chill, and I love this girl. So here we have another northern white-lipped python female. This is Fifi, and she is a bit more spastic than Belle, but she's actually a really sweet animal too. And I got her at the same time as Belle from my boy Jimmy at Gecko and Gecko. She was also wild-caught as a baby, and she's been in captivity for 4-ish years. So she is also an adult female, and she's really cool. And you see this color they get in and shed is actually beautiful, as well. They're another animal that's just really beautiful even in shed. And look at this girl. She is just deep in blue. And I'm also hoping for her to give me some babies this year. So shout outs to Fifi. So next we have our raise up python right here, northern white-lipped python, Rolly. And he is really putting on some size. He's probably closing in on about 2 years now. He's 1.5, 2 years old. I got him from my boy Will at TJW Exotics. Will is a great guy. I'll go ahead and link him in the description as well. And Rolly is just a really cool animal. He was a bit nippy when I first got him, a bit defensive, but he warmed right up, no problem. He is eating weaned rats right now, and he is just beautiful. He's great in the sunlight. He's super iridescent, and he is the only U.S. captive bred northern white-lipped python that I have. I do have a farm-bred northern white-lipped python, and that is Goldie. She is in quarantine right now, so eventually she'll be moved into the smaller rack over here that we'll get to in a minute. But I'll go ahead and put some video of her up right now. But Rolly right here is really cool. He's a male, and he's going to be doing some breeding for me very soon because males can breed a lot sooner than females. So keep an eye out for some babies from this guy in the future. So I let my wife name most of my animals, and this is Beastie. So we have Belle, Beast, and Fifi. So those are all Beauty of the Beast characters. My wife is super into Disney. And Beastie here is actually the first northern white-lipped python that I got. He's wild caught. He's the only one that I have that was wild caught as an adult. And he has the scars to prove it. He has scars all over his body. I don't know if you can see them right here. They're mostly on this side. He's a bit flighty sometimes, but he's actually pretty chill. And here's some of that scarring I was talking about right here on his sides. But you can definitely tell that, he got into some scrapes in the wild. So these guys are native to New Guinea, and they are a beautiful tropical snake. I think that they're just the right size to be a really good pet snake and be really cool at the same time. So I'm really working hard to breed these guys. Beastie is my main breeder male. Beastie gets paired to Fifi and to Belle. He's a bit of a playa, and I'm hoping that this guy will give me some really cool babies. I don't know how old he is, and he doesn't appear like super old, but I don't think he's super young either. But he's definitely a really cool snake, and it's cool that you can get a wild-caught adult northern white-lip like this, and they're this calm. He's really cool. He's a great animal, and he is the whole start to my northern white-lip breeding project. So shout out to Beastie. So Super 70 racks actually come in 5 stacks. So this rack right here is actually a different rack than the one beneath it. And you can see where they join together right here. So this top one has northern white-lipped pythons, and they're at a slightly lower temperature than what's beneath it, and that is ball pythons. So I have some ball pythons right now that have ovulated. They've had their post-ovulation shed, and I'm basically just waiting on them to lay eggs. So I'm not doing a bunch of handling with them, but I'll go ahead and show them to you. So this is my girl Pumpkin. Pumpkin is a yellow belly het pied ball python, and she's an adult female, and as you guys can probably see, she's getting ready to drop some eggs. You can see the lumpiness to her. She's looking a bit fat towards the tail, and she's gone off food, and she's just waiting now to basically lay the eggs. I'm waiting on eggs for her within the next week and a half, 2 weeks. So she's a beautiful girl, and shout outs to Pumpkin. I can't wait to see the eggs that she drops. Beneath Pumpkin here, we got my girl Cayenne. So Cayenne is a pastel het clown, het pied ball python, and she is also gravid. She's getting ready to lay eggs. You can see the lumpiness. You can see the thickness, and she's a beautiful girl, and her babies will be even more beautiful, so I cannot wait until she hatches some eggs out as well. This next girl beneath Pumpkin is Pepper, and Pepper ate a really big meal last night, so I'm not going to pick her up either. But as you can see, she is a beautiful female ball python as well. She's a pastel het clown, het pied ball python, and if you want to see her eating, just subscribe and stay tuned for my video of me feeding all of my animals, because she took down a large rat last night. She's a bit behind Pumpkin and Cayenne on the breeding season, so I'm trying to beef her up to build follicles. And she laid an oddly timed clutch for me. When I first got her, she was actually sent in gravid, and she hatched out surprise eggs on Easter. They were Easter eggs, and that's how I got my first clutch. So this year, I'll actually be getting the first clutches that I really produced. Yes, I incubated and hatched the eggs and took care of them, but I don't feel like I've really produced those eggs. And her babies look completely different from her. I'll go ahead and put some babies on the screen. She had absolutely beautiful babies, and I was totally blessed to have the surprise clutch that I got from her. So yeah, I can't wait to hatch my own babies this year from my pairings, but it was really a nice surprise to get the eggs from her that I did, and that was my first ever clutch. So now we're going to move over to these smaller racks right here, and I actually only have one snake in the top rack, and that is Tinkerbell. And she is a Het A-male, Het Ultra corn snake, and she is right here. She is an absolutely beautiful girl, and I'm actually going to be moving her out of this rack soon and into that cage up there. And this rack right now is a different temperature for her. All these bins are empty. I'm actually going to put a lot of these smaller bins right here, and I'm going to use this rack for the babies that I hatch out this year. And Tinkerbell is going to get a nice bioactive setup, but she is just gorgeous. She has a white belly that turns to pure orange. She's Het amelanistic, Het Ultra, Motley, and I got her from my boy Dan at Shack Scales. You know what? Let's go ahead and check in with Dan for one of Dan's snake facts.
What is going on, guys? This is Dan with Shack Scales. I got my rescue leopard gecko camouflage tams here. And our snake fact for today is really just the range of sizes, you know? So apparently the smallest snake is going to be the Barbados thread snake, which can weigh as much as a paperclip, going all the way up to the green anaconda and the reticulated python, which can be over 200 pounds. So quite a difference there. Now you know.
Thanks, Dan. So I'll go ahead and get my girl Tinkerbell back in here. Dan, thanks for the awesome snake. Thanks for the snake facts. And much love, bro. You guys can find Dan's links in the description. He's an awesome guy. He's a great breeder, and he has some really cool stuff. So go check him out. So the rack beneath the rack that Tinkerbell's in, because once again, these VE6s come in 5 stacks, is a ball python raise-up rack. And we have some smaller males in there as well. So this is Joker. He is a clown-pied ball python. He is a beautiful male, and he has likely sired my clutch this year with Cayenne. I say likely because I'm not counting my eggs before they hatched, but he locked with Cayenne several times. She's gone off food, and she's about to lay eggs. So he is the sire of her clutch, no matter what ends up happening with it. And he is an absolutely beautiful male. I got him from Markham Reptiles. They did a great job shipping. I'll go ahead and link them in the description as well. And I just touched his heat pits, but he's actually really chill. So ball pythons, as you guys probably know, have these heat pits in the front, and that's a sensitive part of their face. So if you bump into it, it actually makes them go back. He actually just showed you. He bumped into himself and actually jumped backwards. It's just a sensitive part of their body. So they use these heat pits to obviously sense heat, and that's an awesome tool that they use for hunting. This guy is really cool, and he's kind of the staple original, sire of my ball python project. He's the snake that I picked up looking to really breed some powerhouse animals. He's a visual double recessive, and he's just an awesome snake. So he's kind of the foundation of my ball python breeding project. Now, that being said, I've actually produced some really cool ball pythons as well, and I'll show you one of those holdbacks in just a second here. So another snake here in the ball python raise up and male rack is this boy Cross, and he's an adult breeder male. He's an orange dream clown het pied, so he can pop out pied babies, and he is visually a clown in an orange dream. He has a really cool pattern. He's a really good eater, and he's a strong breeder as well. He has sired Pumpkin's clutch for this year, so when those eggs pop out, those are his babies. He did a great job for me this year breeding, and I really love this guy. His head stamp is really cool, and that's why my wife named him Cross, is because he has this cross-like, almost like a Celtic cross type pattern on the middle of his head. Super cool. Love this guy. He is definitely awesome. He's a little bit big male. He's a little bit bigger for a male. And he is really cool, great feeder, great pattern. Add the pied in, add the orange dream to the yellow belly of Pumpkin, and we could have some really cool orange snakes coming up. So here I have a raise up female that I did not produce. She was actually produced by my buddies Sebastian and Adam at Showcase Serpents. They are absolutely awesome. I'm going to link them in the description, And I'm also going to link the tour video I did at their place that was absolutely awesome. But this girl is an orange dream leopard pied het clown female. So an absolute powerhouse combination of genes. She's a beautiful animal. She's a really high white pied with a cool tail, cool pattern, and she actually carries the clown gene as well, which fits very well into a lot of my projects. So shout out to Sebastian and Adam at Showcase Serpents. They're absolutely great people. They gave me this absolutely great snake. She's eating weaned rats and small rats right now. She ate a weaned rat last night, and it didn't even put that big of a lump in her. So I'll probably go ahead and bump her up to small rats. But she's growing for me. She's doing great. She's a beautiful animal. She's pretty. A lot of people that come here like to hold her. My wife Courtney likes to hold her a lot. And a lot of visitors like to hold her because she's just such a cool looking animal that's not super big. So kids like to hold her, and people that are maybe a bit more cautious of snakes, this is really their go-to animal to hold. So next we have a really awesome snake that we actually produced ourselves here at Markham Reptiles. This guy is Maui. He's from the surprise clutch that I was telling you guys about that Pepper laid on Easter. He ended up hatching out in about May, and he is a blackhead clown pied male, and he is going to be an absolute beast. He's eating like a monster. As you guys can see, he's putting on size. He ate a weaned rat last night. You can kind of tell in him on like patches. You can see it right about there. So I'm not going to overly handle him, but he is an absolutely beautiful pied animal. And this guy may be overtaking Joker as the foundation to my project. So when you guys start breeding and you hatch out your best animal, you should always keep it as a form of reinvesting into your business. And that's exactly what I did with Maui right here. He was my most genetically powerful animal that I hatched out, and that is why he is my holdback, and he is going to be the foundation of my future ball python breeding plans. So on top of these racks that I just showed you, I actually have a bit of isopod breeding going on. So in here, I have my isopod breeding. I have springtails and I have dairy cows in here breeding. Let's see if I can find anything. These springtails are going absolutely crazy. You can see them all over the place in here. I've actually just used a lot of the dairy cows for Dundee's setup, but you can actually see a couple of them right here. And they're all over this place roaming around. I just have a lot of cork bark. I got leaves in here, and they are thriving in here. So I actually breed my own isopods and springtails, and I just breed them together because I'm not really selling them. I'm just using them for my own setup. But this saves me a lot of money. So there actually is probably a bit more dairy cows in here, but they're just moving around wherever they're at under the leaf litter and stuff like that. But look how crazy these springtails are going. So yeah, this saves me a bunch of money. I breed my own isopods and springtails in this Sterilite tub right here, and it just has some holes in the side for ventilation. I actually bought this tub on Amazon, and I'll go ahead and link that in the description. So next to these racks, I actually have my incubator that my father and I built. And I just fired it up for you guys, so it's not up to temperature yet. But I just fired it up just to show you. So it stays at 88 degrees. I'm using this Vivarium Electronics thermostat, and it's pulse proportional. And so basically when it gets up to 88, it just pulses and stays around 88 and gives me a really consistent temperature. I'll get further into it here. It has a lot of room, and you can see that it's heated with heat tape all around the sides and the bottom. And there's actually a fan running in the back because this used to be a beverage cooler. So basically we took out all the parts that did the cooling. We left the light and we left the fan. So the fan circulates the air, makes sure that this has even temperature throughout the whole thing. And I actually have a ton of space to incubate eggs in here. So all my clutches will be going into this incubator this year. And this is the incubator that I incubated my first clutch ever in last year. And we had actually built this incubator for literally no reason right before I got my surprise clutch. So I built it right on time with the help of my wonderful dad. Shout outs to you, Dad. And it was right on time for that surprise clutch that I got on Easter. I literally built this like 2 days before. I'm super proud of this incubator. Take one more look at it. We got this beverage cooler literally for free. It says cold drinks, but all it produces is hot snakes. So maybe I'll take that off and put Markham Reptiles on it or something like that. This was definitely a super cool project to do, super fun to make, and I think it turned out looking great. It will hold a lot of eggs, and I'm super happy about this incubator. So yeah, that was it. That's our reptile room, you guys. I'm hoping to make a lot more improvements in the future. I want to get some 3x2x2s or some 4x2x2s going for the white-lipped pythons. And I'm pretty happy, though, with a lot of the upgrades I've made right now. Check out this shirt, you guys. I got this on Amazon. It's definitely a true shirt. It says, "Warning, I may start talking about snakes." I'll go ahead and put a link in the description in case you guys want to get this shirt. And I'm just giving you one more look at our great animal ambassador here, Tinkerbell. She is a wonderful snake. She's beautifully orange. This is a really good view of her belly. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this reptile room tour, if you want to see more stuff, and if you want to track our improvements in the future. Let me know what your favorite animal was. I'm really curious about that. What was your guys' favorite animal? Drop that in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we really appreciate your support here at Markham Reptiles. You guys have a wonderful day and love each other and take care.